Hey folks, welcome to New Mexico Desert Classics. I'm Dan and this is Luigi. Luigi's a 1973 Fiat 500R. The R is for Renovata, so it's the kind of the rebirth of the Fiat 500. So Luigi is an all-original survivor car, and here on New Mexico Desert Classics, that's what we're after. We're after the patina, but not your fake patina of today. We're after your well-used, well-loved cars, but we're not going to turn away a shiny paint job either. So this is an original paint, original interior car, not perfect in a driver form. And Luigi and I have a lot of years together. I picked him up in Italy in 2011 with the help of Antonio and Roberto and some friends of mine. We've also done a couple other projects, and for the most part we deal with air-cooled cars. So you'll see lots of early Porsches, early Volkswagens, and Luigi and his sister Pia, who's a 1971 Fiat 500 Lusso that underwent a full rotisserie restoration while we were in Italy. So I'm going to pause the introduction for now, and I apologize for the editing, and it's pretty bright in the New Mexico sun, but that's why we have great cars here. So without any further ado, I'm going to walk you around Luigi a bit and give you a little bit of an introduction. The first thing you'll notice is that's not an engine. So instead you have the 10-gallon fuel tank. Actually, I'm sorry, 10-liter fuel tank. Bit of a difference there, right? So then you've got a spare tire from, it's a 12-inch wheel, all original, complete with steel threads sticking out, so one could say I probably wouldn't be running this on the road, but it's nice to have it in an all original car. Original bulb replacement kit. You've got your headlights, taillights, blinkers, and signals. Original jack with jack strap, and your 6-post fuse box. You'll notice on the bumpers it doesn't have the overriders, doesn't have the towel bars that Fiat 500s are known for. This is one of the later model 500s of the original ones, so it just had the straight Euro blade bumper. Obviously, Luigi doesn't really have the eyes. That's something my wife cut down for me. And the pièce de résistance, the sunroof. So as we walk through the car, you'll notice that the interior is could be referred to as ratty. I like to call it original. While the top has been replaced, the interior, the seats have not, and I leave them that way. That's just part of who Luigi is and always will be. You'll also notice Luigi's not a show car, so when we get inside, you'll notice there's dirt on the floors. There's an embarrassing gum wrapper, and we'll take a look at the dash here in a second. All right, so as promised, you can see on the interior, it's a very Spartan interior from the factory. That radio is obviously not stock, neither are the speakers. No carpets, just ribbed rubber floor mats. And then of course there's the Ferrari emblem, which is actually a cherished souvenir from a trip my son and I took to Maranello to the Ferrari factory museum. Luigi didn't get to go along, but we brought him a present, so that's a magnet from the Ferrari factory museum. You'll notice the key on the left of the ignition column. That's actually just the ignition itself. It's not the starter, so that is that's similar to early Volkswagen Beetles on the Euro market had a steering wheel lock. Well, that doesn't actually lock Luigi's steering wheel. It's actually just the control of the power, and then it's started with a choke lever and a mechanical connection that's made with a lever between the two seats. Standard ashtray and lighter, which obviously Italy in the 1970s, it was not frowned upon. In fact, it was almost mandatory to smoke. So I'm sure Luigi has plenty of secondhand smoke over the years. All right, so looking down in the engine bay, you'll notice it is, again, obviously in the back, like a Volkswagen Beetle. However, it is a 594 cc upright two-cylinder. So essentially, if you took half of a flat boxer engine out of a Volkswagen Beetle and cut it in half and tilted it upright, this here is the fan shroud that cycles all of the standard with the generator down here, crank pulley, and cycles all the air across the finned cylinders for an air-cooled engine, just like a Volkswagen. This is not the original setup for a Fiat 500. This is actually, it is original to the car. Later on in the cars, they used a engine from a Fiat 126, which is what this engine is, which is original to the 1973 Fiat 500R. All right, so we'll just do a quick walk around. I apologize for the shadows ahead of time. It is New Mexico. I'm convinced that the only reason they created New Mexico was because Mexico wasn't sunny enough. So we have lots of, as I mentioned earlier, lots of sun here, lots of sun-baked cars. This is original paint for Luigi. He's from northern Italy, about 40 miles north of Venice. So still sunny, but he was garaged most of his life. I'm actually the second owner of this car. I purchased him in 2011 after the original owner passed away, and her son decided to let Luigi find another owner. So we've got all the paperwork and everything from having brought him over from Italy to the U.S. And actually, believe it or not, if you we took the bumpers off of Luigi and Pia, his twin sister, who's a coral color, 71 Lusso, and we put them both in a shipping container, but not a 40-foot shipping container like you might think, a 20-foot shipping container, and both cars fit in. So with that, I think we'll wrap this up and take Luigi for a drive. All right, so a turn of the key, pull of the choke, and a pull of the lever. Does not have a synchro first gear, so you don't have to come to a complete stop, but it helps. It also helps not to chunk second. So Luigi's got just over 60,000 original kilometers, and only about 10,000 of those are from my ownership. drive around. So that about wraps it up for today. Again, Luigi is a 1973 Fiat 500R. You will see him lots in future videos because he's what I like to tool around to the shop in. And again, welcome to New Mexico Desert Classics. We're not a shop, we're just a collection of guys who like to wrench on old stuff. And totally different skill sets. Some of us are mechanics, some of us aren't. And so I'm a lot better at just going out and finding the cars and scouring the internet. But all together we like to just find old cars in the desert and get them back on the road. So thanks for joining. Give us a like, give us a follow, and again, turn on your notifications. I can't promise anything right up front with a ton of videos, but we do have some interesting stuff in the works, like a 1959 Volkswagen bus, 23 window, as in what you see on Barrett Jackson for 150 grand. This one's not quite there. It will be someday, but we'll be bringing you a bunch of interesting cars from southern New Mexico. So thanks again for joining us.